Do you know where Mr. Myers is?
Mars?
Yeah, John Myers.
Oh, Myers?
Yeah,
No,
Myers.
I don't.
He works for you, does he not, Mr. Hughes?
He works for my company.
It may be funny to you that he isn't here.
I didn't laugh, Senator. Somebody laughed back there.
Well, he's in your employ. Do you think that Mr. Myers in business at the present time is more important than this committee hearing?
Well, it's more important to my company, I can tell you that.
Who in your company will know the whereabouts of Mr. Myers at the present time?
I don't know that, but you've had him here for unlimited questioning, and I've brought him back here twice from abroad. I don't see why I should do any more than that. Just to accommodate you so you can put him up here beside me on the stand and make a publicity show out of it.
Well, is that the reason he is not here?
No, that is not the reason, but I think it's the reason you want him back.
Well, I have some questions that I want to ask him.
Why didn't you ask him while he was here? I brought him here twice from abroad for you.
Well, now, will you see that Mr. Myers comes in at the 2 o'clock session?
What, today?
Yes.
No, I don't think I will.
That was the voice of Howard Hughes, recorded in 1947 in a United States Senate chamber in Washington, D.C. It was in the course of a hearing by a special Senate committee into the affairs of Hughes and Trans World Airline, which he owned and operated at that time. The purpose of those hearings, as historians have determined, was an attempt by certain groups within the Senate and outside to force Hughes to merge with another major company that was flying overseas at the time. Now, the Johnny Meyer mentioned by both these antagonists was a public relations man who had been hired by Hughes at the beginning of World War II, and Meyer, in the course of his business for Hughes, had been entertaining various military figures, including Colonel Elliott Roosevelt, then an Air Force officer, and all this was part of the effort to get military contracts. And as a part of the inquiry, Meyer's name came up, and you heard what Mr. Hughes told the United States Senate. Now, we're going on from 1947 to the time this very year when Mr. Hughes gave a telephone interview from Nassau in the Bahamas to a group of newspapermen who were in California, and on this conference call they spoke to each other for almost 3 hours, and during the course of this Mr. Hughes revealed himself perhaps more fully than at any time in his past. We have here some of the things that he said. Mr. Hughes, you have been confronted recently with one of the most amazing stories that anybody surely ever had to hear. The story from Clifford Irving that he had written your autobiography with your help and assistance, and you have denied this publicly. Let me ask you directly, do you know a man named Irving, and did you ever help him or anyone else with your autobiography?
Well, this must go down in history. I only wish I were still in the movie business, because I don't remember any scripts as wild or as stretching of the imagination as this yarn has turned out to be. I'm not talking about the biography itself because I've never read it. I don't know what's in it, but I mean, this episode is just so fantastic that it taxes your imagination to believe that a thing like this could happen. No, I never saw him. I never even heard of him until a matter of days ago when this thing first came to my attention. And incidentally, where does he live?
He lives in Spain at this time, Mr. Hughes.
In Spain?
Yes, sir.
He doesn't claim I came to Spain to see him, does he?
No, he claims you traveled around the Western Hemisphere with him over a period of several months, late last year. Have you left the hotel there in the Bahamas in the last several months?
Well, left the hotel.
Yes, sir.
Well, you're getting in a pretty touchy area there. Let's say I haven't left the Bahamas, and I certainly haven't seen Mr. Irving.
Do you feel this situation with the Irvings is merely the gullibility of the publishing firm, or is there something more serious here, or is it merely that they were all out for a profit?
Well, I just have no way of judging that. I am so completely and utterly shocked that anything like this could happen that, believe me, I don't know how to characterize it or to analyze it or diagnose it. I just haven't any idea. It is so fantastic and so utterly beyond the bounds of anyone's imagination that I simply haven't any idea what is it. Well, obviously, the motive for Irving could be money, but certainly McGraw-Hill and Time Life don't have to deal in fake manuscripts or that sort of thing in order to survive. They surely have a business that operates at a higher plane than that. And so I just don't have any idea what is behind this thing.
Mr. Hughes, we understand that something over $800,000 was paid out in advance on the book, and supposedly some of that came to you.
That's what I've been told, and that's what we're trying to run down, because that's the one thing that I don't understand here. In other words, there's got to be a bank record somewhere of this transaction. And Chester Davis will tell you that I have been very, very critical of him for not being able to uncover this, the path of these funds, because they even claim to have my endorsement or my signature on a check, and yet they won't produce it. And I don't understand how any such money as this could be passed through any normal channel without leaving a trail a mile wide and bright pink or some such color. In other words, it's, if you knew the difficulties that people have in getting rid of stolen money or money illegally obtained, they can't find a place to put it usually, and or a place to keep it without putting it in some bank or leaving some kind of a record. If they try to handle it and keep it in the form of currency, then they run into trouble with the IRS. And I just don't understand how any such sum of money as that which you described could have changed hands here without there being a record of it somewhere. And what I don't understand is why Time Life and McGraw-Hill, who are supposed to have a reputation for legitimacy and integrity to some degree, I don't understand why they won't cooperate with us in finding out what has really happened here. Because this money didn't come out of any of my bank accounts, and it didn't enter any of my bank accounts. So, and it wasn't given to any charity with my knowledge or direction. So what happened to the money? In other words, if they paid me this money, as I understand they're claiming to have done, then where is it? I couldn't hide that amount of money without running into all sorts of difficulty with the Treasury Department, and I just don't understand why the people involved in this affair won't be more cooperative with us in attempting to trace the path of these funds, which are supposed to have passed, I guess, to me, not from me. Isn't that what they claim?
Mr. Hughes, there's something else I think a great many people would like to know about. There have been some very absurd descriptions of your physical appearance.
Yeah, you mean the artist's conception?
Yes, the artist's concept about the long fingernails, and how some of us said that how could he possibly sign a letter with his fingernails as long as that, and various other things. That
Proof that I don't have fingernails.
Exactly.
You know, this is very amusing because the first time I read that article about the fingernails, I said, well, how in the hell could I write my name if I had fingernails? No, the thing that amused me was that you and I had the same reaction to it, that when I first read the account and saw the artist's conception, the first statement I made to Chester or whichever one of my people it was who brought this material to me, the first statement I made was, well, how in the hell could I sign the documents that I've been signing and wouldn't I have gotten tangled up with these fingernails in trying to sign my name, because I had just completed signing quite a number of various material, correspondence and so forth, and I'd written my name a number of times, and it's just amusing that you and I had the same reaction, because I don't know where I would have put these damn things unless I could detach them while signing my name.
Mr. Hughes, you have your fingernails manicured and your hair groomed just about as you have in the years past, don't you?
Yes, I don't ever have manicures. I do it myself. I never have had manicures. I don't know. Maybe it is an outgrowth of my childhood when they used to tease people about having, that is, males, about having manicures. Anyway, I never had them, ever. But I've always kept my fingernails a reasonable length, and I cut them with clippers, not with scissors and nail file the way some people do. I use clippers because they don't leave a rough edge afterwards. Anyway, I take care of them the same way I always have, the same way I did when I went around the world, and at times when you've seen me, and at the time of the flight of the flying boat, and every other occasion when I've come in contact with the press, I care for my fingernails in the same precise manner that I always have all my life.
Please tell us the rest of the statistics about yourself at this time. How much you weigh. We understand some people have said you weigh under 100 pounds, 94 in fact, and that you have a beard to your waist and long toenails and so on.
Well, the statistics are that I am 6 feet 3 3/4 inches, which is what I've always been. Just barely under 6 feet 4. And at weight, I would guess in the 140 to 50 area. I am thin. I've always been thin. And what was the other statistics?
The toenail 6 to 8 inches long.
This is just inconceivable. If I had toenails 8 inches long, I couldn't walk. Fingernails 8 inches long, I couldn't write my name. That was the one thing that was the first means of disproving it that came to my mind.
Do you have a beard? And how would you describe that?
I've worn a beard for, well, good God, I've been wearing a beard for long before it became the fad, when I was living at Muirfield Road. You know how long ago that was.
And hair to the middle of your back?
Of course not. I put it.
Why in the world would anyone describe you this way?
There's a malicious, in a malicious effort to discredit me and to uphold these absurd statements that are being made. This is all obviously a part of a campaign to lend credence to this fairy tale that these people are trying somehow to support.
It's been printed that the testimony describing you this way came from Peter Mayhew, whose father, your former Nevada chief, is so bitterly contesting his discharge.
Is a mild way of morning. Everything short of murder as a result of being discharged. I don't suppose any disgruntled employee who was discharged has ever even come close to Mr. Mayhew's conduct. As far as the son is concerned, he's never even seen me, to my knowledge. So I don't know how in the hell he could make any statements about my appearance, because during all the time that I was in Las Vegas, I never saw him.
Mr. Hughes, it's been a mystery to many, many people, the way you live your life. Why do you live as you do? Why do you live the life of a recluse?
Well, I don't really know. I just sort of slid into it, but I'll tell you one thing. I'm rapidly planning to come out of it. In other words, I'm not going to continue being quite as reclusive, as you call it, as I've been, because it apparently has attracted so much attention that I've just got to live a somewhat modified life in order not to be an oddity. A funny thing, it really is, that in this world, you cannot just be neutral, or you cannot just go about your business and lead your life in what seems to you to be a normal way. This just doesn't seem possible. You apparently have to do certain things and follow a certain path of conduct in order to satisfy people that there's not something wrong. And so I'm getting ready to embark on a program of convincing the public that these extreme statements are absurd.
Mr. Hughes, there are a number of theories about why you have taken yourself out of the public view. And one of these is that you fear kidnapping. Another is that you are maneuvering constantly to avoid process servers and thus avoid lawsuits. And the third is that possibly you have some physical disability.
Well, that, of course, is not true. I have no physical disability that would be apparent to anyone. What's the other two?
Kidnapping and process maneuvering to avoid suits.
Well, I've often thought of the potentiality of kidnapping in view of some of the publicity about my alleged wealth. And I say alleged because if some of the people who are making claims against me don't come to some state of sanity, heaven knows what I have left. So that's why I say alleged. Anyway, wait a minute, let's get back on the track here. What was the last question?
The third one was the business of maneuvering to avoid process servers and lots of legislation.
I won't deny one thing, that I don't want to spend the rest of my life sitting in some courtroom being harassed and interrogated by a disgruntled, discharged employee. That I will frankly admit. And so, if the serving of a process would mean endless hours of exposure to harassment, interruption of what work I want to do before I die, I can certainly say I don't want it, and I don't relish it, and I would certainly not welcome it or encourage it or make it easy.
So this has a real bearing on what you're going to do with the rest of your life, does it not?
I think this depends to a great measure on what I'm able to do about the very things that we've been discussing. In other words, the lawsuit with TWA, which has hounded me for 11 years now, and now this Mayhew affair, and assurance that I'm going to spend the rest of my life in the courtroom. I don't know. I don't know why people are given such broad latitude to influence the lives of others or to interfere with them, whatever you want to call it. But that seems to be our way of life, and so until I can get some of these issues in which I am the defendant, so to speak, until I can get some of these issues put to rest, I can't really make any definitive plans.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Hughes, we've heard all sorts of stories about your requiring special medication and this and that because of your health. What is the real story of your personal health at this time?
Well, how the hell is anybody's health at 66 years of age? I certainly don't feel like running around a track at UCLA and trying to break a record, I can tell you that. But my health is tolerable, that's certain, and probably better than I deserve.
Mr. Hughes, is it possible that you are considering at this time returning to flying, to piloting your own aircraft yourself again? This is, I know, is a bug that no aviator ever gets out of his blood.
To piloting aircraft?
Right.
Yes, positively.
There's nothing in your physical condition that would prevent anything like that.
No, as a matter of fact, it would be the best thing in the world for me. And only contemplated it, but planned it definitely, and it will, I think, be the best conceivable therapy for me because, well, it's just something that I like doing rather than something I don't like doing, and it's good for me in every way. So I definitely expect to recommence a program of flying.
I'd like to ask you also, in reference to the assistance and also the contributions you've made to various medical organizations in Nevada and in Boston and elsewhere, do you feel that this is one of the areas in which you can use your wealth and some of your special technical knowledge for the general benefit of the country?
Well, in that I am most interested, and eventually that's where the bulk of my estate will go. In other words, there's nothing that interests me more than medical research and the quest for better living facilities and better health and better medical standards, not only in the United States but throughout the world. This to me is where we should be concentrating our greatest effort. In fact, possibly, I might say that I feel it could be more important than some of the space activity.
Mr. Hughes, all the legends that have grown up around you, some of them repeatable, some not repeatable. One of the funniest is supposed to be about your predilection for wearing tennis shoes. Can you tell us how that one got started?
I don't. Yes. Oh, yes. Sure I do. They started when I had a pair of. You remember when shoes were rationed during World War II?
Yeah.
When you had to have a ticket to buy leather shoes. Well, there were shoes made of non-strategic material, some kind of canvas or imitation leather. And I had a pair of these that I liked and wore, and these were termed by some newsmen tennis shoes. They weren't really tennis shoes at all. They were simply a shoe that was sold in normal shoe stores and which did not require a ration coupon to procure them. In other words, they were non-strategic material. And that is where that one came from, because I haven't played tennis in quite a while. I'm certain they didn't come from any exposure on the tennis court or any appearance in what were truly tennis shoes. But the tennis shoe story definitely derived from these gray-green colored, I think that's what you'd call them, mostly gray. Gray-green, yeah. Non-strategic, semi-canvas. Well, no, they weren't canvas. They were an imitation shoe leather. I'm certain they would not rank as canvas in the normal sense.
Mr. Hughes, while we're on sport, there are a lot of stories about you and golf back in the days when you were, I guess you were a scratch handicap at Riviera Country Club.
Right to there, I was never lower than 2.
Well, that's definitely excellent. But the story goes that at this time you went into Willie Hunter, the pro at Riviera, and said, "Willie, do you think I could beat Bobby Jones in the National Amateur?" And Willie said no. And you put your clubs down then and never played after that.
Oh, that's absurd. That's absurd. I had a game with Bobby here in Pebble Beach. Was very proud of the experience, and it was one of my treasured memories.
You remember how you did in that match with him?
Well, I didn't at any time contest against him. In other words, at no time was I on a level or at no time did I play the kind of golf to challenge Bobby Jones, that I assure you. But I did have a game in which he was a participant. Whether it was a foursome or a threesome, I don't remember, but we did play Pebble Beach, and he was a part of the match, and it was one of my treasured memories. This is going way back, though. Jesus, this is really a long time ago.
Mr. Hughes, this seems to have gone extremely well today, and I think that a lot of people will have an idea of you as a person that has not been this clear before. And under the circumstances, I want to suggest to you that as soon as you feel possible, that you have a face-to-face interview with the press group once more, and hope that you can do this shortly.
Well, this has been proposed to me by my people, and I definitely expect to do it and intend to do it.
And could you say anything at all about your time schedule on your own plans to, as you say, come out in the open again to a degree?
Well, no. I can't give you a precise time, but I will say that I certainly intend to do it as soon as I am able to, and can do so without collateral disadvantages of some type. In other words, as soon as Davis and some of my associates tell me that I can do these things, I am ready and waiting.
When you do come back into general circulation, Mr. Hughes, does it ever cross your mind that you'd like to make some movies again?
I would like to. I have always thought that in my years when I couldn't be quite as active as I was at the time I flew around the world, I've always sort of thought that movies and motion pictures would be something I could do even up to my last day, so to speak. In other words, it's not something that requires great physical resourcefulness or physical resources. It's not something that requires In other words, great youth or great strength. Jesus Christ Cecil DeMille made pictures until he was way, way beyond my age. And so I have always thought that in the later years of my life, I would like very, very much to make some motion pictures that would be truly worthwhile. I mean, the ones I made before were entertaining. And I've seen some of them in the light of what's showing on television now, movies of the same vintage, in other words. And they stand up pretty well.
In these later years, your Scarface and Hell's Angels have come to be considered classics, really.
Well, at least they still don't look too damn bad alongside of the other pictures of that same period. I mean, I'm not claiming they're competitive with our latest CinemaScope and this division and all the various new processes and so forth. I don't pretend that what I did is competitive with today's artistic methods and the materials and the techniques that are available today are so far beyond anything I had that it would be absurd to say that you could look at one of my pictures and compare them with today's output and claim that they compare favorably. But they sure as hell compare favorably with pictures of their same years or that were made in those years. And I've noticed that on television, on the films showing on television. I've been pretty pleased with the way mine have stood up, even though they didn't get Academy Awards. Oh, I think one of them got some kind of an award, but in general, my movies were not considered artistic classics, and so from that standpoint, I have nothing to boast about. But if you look at them on television today compared to the ones that are playing and were made in the same period, they hold together pretty well.
Mr. Hughes, so many people have been intrigued by the fact that you seem to do a lot of your business on the telephone. In fact, from what we hear, 95% of it is by telephone. And you talk to people, you appear, direct them from one end of a telephone line, and they're at the other end, and it seems a little unusual, and I wonder if you would tell us why and how you do this.
Yes, I've always done my business over the phone, but other than that fact, I certainly do. And I'll say something else. The world is moving toward doing more of its business over the telephone rather than in person. I mean, top business executives all over the world are learning that they can make 25, 26, 27 telephone calls in a day and transact, let's say, X amount of business in each one. And if they tried to see all those people personally, with the traffic and all the rest of the delays involved, the figure instead of 26 and 7 would be maybe 6 or 7 or in that region. In other words, people have found that by doing business on the telephone, they can do about 4 times as much in one day as they can do in person, particularly if they live in New York or some city that is a beehive of activity from a traffic standpoint.
You have so much money invested in Las Vegas, Mr. Hughes, and now you have left there. A great many people are wondering what you're going to do about these investments. How do you see this in Nevada picture? Are you going to hold on to your hotels? Can you tell us something about this?
I'll tell you one thing. I have no intention of selling anything that involves any employment. In other words, I have no intention of selling any of the active businesses that you just mentioned, the hotels or the Hell's Club in Reno or any of my activities in Nevada which account for the huge employment I have in Nevada. I have no intention of selling any of those. Now, as to whether I sell any of the unused real estate, that's something that will depend upon how I feel Nevada will treat me when I return there, and what happens with this man Mayhew.
Mr. Hughes, your troubles with Congress and with the Senate back in 1947 involved your Spruce Goose, the big flying boat, and you completed it and flew it very briefly, and you've retained it all these years, and it's still there in the hangar. What are you going to do when the lease runs out? What will you do with the boat?
Oh, brother, I can't answer that one today. I just don't have an answer for that today. I'll tell you one thing. There's a lot that still can be learned from that airplane. And I feel before anything is done with it that might be in the nature of destructive or damaging, we should utilize it to the fullest and obtain all of the data that still can be obtained from it, which is a great deal more than most people realize.
Mr. Hughes, one final question. We all know that you are one of the wealthiest men in the world. Your wealth is estimated at $2.5 billion, and yet you seem to be having your troubles. We'd like to ask, are you a happy man today?
I'm not not very happy, I'll tell you that. And one of the primary reasons is because of some of the things we've been discussing here tonight. That is to say, in other words, the impediments upon my freedom and activities imposed by all of this litigation and these overhanging threats of various types, this threatened autobiography and so forth. All these matters are very draining in their effect upon me, and so if you, well, your question was, am I happy and content? The answer is no.
And now, listeners, we have come to the end of the interview with Mr. Hughes. You have heard his voice on two momentous occasions. The first one in the 1947 Brewster hearings, when his affairs were in crisis, and now once more when they are at least in the public eye, intensive inspection by the public at large. He talked from Paradise Island, Nassau, in the Bahamas, and you have an opportunity, a unique opportunity here, to compare the voice of Mr. Hughes, who was present in person in the first instance, and this time when he spoke by telephonic interview. You make the comparison and you decide for yourself that whether or not it was actually Howard Hughes on both occasions.